Okay, hi guys, and welcome to the show. As today we're discussing Tudor, I'm wearing my Submariner during my morning run. I'm gonna head home, shower, change, and then head to the Tudor store to hopefully try on the Monochrome if I can, but definitely the Pelagos 39, and see if it's time to upgrade. Anyway, let's get going. It's hot, it's loud, it's dirty, it smells, it's perfect, just how I like it. Right there, that's madness, madness. No wonder my brain feels like it's melting. There's no point of going over the history of the Black Bay, the Pelagos, or its progenitors like my current reference 79090. And even those subs from the ambivalent Bigger Bro brand, ordained with the 5-pointed corona. I've talked about it to death on this channel for over a decade now, so I refer you back to my previous deep dives on the subject. Cringiante pun, partly intended there. But when it comes to the new 2024 Monochrome Black Bay or 2022's Pelagos 39, there's several key questions that I feel we need to get to the bottom of. Firstly, are they really the modern incarnations of what a contemporary Submariner should be? Also, as the word monochrome suggests, are they perhaps a little boring, especially in a highly oversaturated genre? Again, with the diving puns. And finally, quite simply, how do they all compare? I'm sure it's going to pick it up. So 60 click. And you were telling me it's designed after...
It's designed to sound like a vintage Swiss bank safe.
That's insane.
Specifically Swiss.
Specifically, there's different bank safes, I presume. Does a German one sound different to a Swiss one?
I'm not sure, we'd have to test it out.
That's crazy. It is really nice, it's really solid. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
With the Pelagos 39 or the Monochrome Black Bay, there's a ton of parallels here to one of my favourite watches, the Explorer. It's something that, unless you experience it, you might just disregard it as an overly safe or boring, more of the same watch. But that always also guarantees its biggest advantage, a supreme versatility, never clashing sartorially, never being offensive to even the most delicate tastes and sensibilities. Working in any situation, from the corporate sterility of desk diving to the most roguishly active scoundrel lifestyle or battlefield action. A sure bet that on a more profound level, its unpretentious honesty hits a little harder these days in an ever more convoluted, opaque and digitally manipulated world. The Monochrome is an extension of that same ideology in a family of watches that has tried almost every material, size, colour and complication relevant to its design. So much so, it's almost comical now. Perhaps the last place to go was just black and white. This then begs the question, what on earth will they do next? What do you guys think? A tourbillon bay, oh my god, that really would get a lot of people angry. So I literally just came out of the store. Unfortunately, no Monochrome Black Bay, all sold out. Not a surprise. I think I'll discuss that a little bit later. But I did try the 39 Pelagos, and it was strangely more Submariner-esque than any Black Bay I've ever experienced. I'll also discuss that in a moment. Super friendly staff. Shout out to Jonathan, amazingly knowledgeable and professional. So if you come to Manhattan here, the store here in the Meatpacking district, I highly recommend You ask for him, he knows what he's talking about, and a true watch enthusiast. And when you're dealing with watch enthusiasts, it's different, you know, somebody who really understands what you like and what you're looking for exactly. So, quick observation of the meatpacking district. It's become very shishi, shall we say. A lot of luxury stores and luxury homes as well. Porca miseria, it's so hot. I really needed this. There's nobody here. What is the expression? Only mad dogs and Englishmen, or in this case British Italians, go out in the midday sun. So I've returned to Central Park. It is unbearably hot. I wasn't really feeling it earlier, but now walking about so much hotter. So I apologise about me sweating profusely. I'm going to find a quiet spot and ruminate on my observations from the Tudors. But I'm sure they'll sell boatloads of any new Black Bay, no matter if it's just monochrome or fluorescent Timmy Mallet style. They should really call it the Crack Bay at this point. Considering the current shaky state of the industry we discussed in the previous video, that's fundamentally also why the latest version is just black and white over something more challenging. I'm hoping the profits will go into something a little bit more interesting for the future. But without gilt on the dial, is it no longer vintage inspired? The only thing currently keeping it in the vintagey camp, so to speak, is the dated unloomed aluminium insert. Before, if you wanted a modern Tudor diver design, the Pelagos was the ultimate evolved continuation and expression of the utilitarian side of the legacy. The Crack Bay was more for those nostalgia-orientated, predisposed stylistically to 1950s and 60s Goldfinger wannabe classicism over a Verhoeven functional futurism, but still simultaneously wanted something with modern materials, with no risk of vintage fragility, or for that matter, paying jacked up prices due to military provenance. I'm not going to wear lapel mics, so just deal with the sound of the breeze. In fact, the breeze is the only thing keeping me alive right now. So, what do I not like about the watches I saw and the Black Bay? Well, the Black Bay, a bit like the speedy dial. You know, once you see that marker at 12 as a, you know, and two due palle e un pisello, ti dico in italiano perché è più elegante, no? Once you see that, it can't be unseen. I feel the same way about the Tudor Black Bay dial. It doesn't work, those triangle at 12, the rectangles and circles, it doesn't flow with the snowflake hands. This triangle dial works perfectly. The Pelagos has that symmetry, the right markers also historically linking back. The size, the Black Bay, despite being slimmed down, still feels clumsy and like a slab and rather unrefined. The Pelagos really feels like a Submariner. The ETA serviceability, I'm going to stick with my my ETA. Charming. Sorry, we're back in New York. It was going to happen, right? The serviceability is a factor for me. Yeah, METAS testing, all the rest of it, 70-hour power reserve. If you're going Monday to Friday, it's a good weekend proof. You know, you switch it up on the weekend. Monday morning, it's still going. That's great. It depends on what you want. I serviced this recently, or last year, I think. It was $400. Pressure tested it, so it's actually capable of going to 200 meters. I can actually dive with a vintage watch. Crazy, right? But I prefer ETA. plentiful parts. It's a tool watch. It's not supposed to be a dress watch, and I think if you're buying for the prestige of in-house, I don't think it's really worth it. The elegance in my mind comes from outside, the versatility, the Bondian understatement. It's a very British style, I think. I can't deny I'm not a fan of the hipster Billy Berg connotations. The Black Bay has kind of earned this reverence by hipster types. Not really sure why. I know you should never care about these things, but the Pelagos, there's no nonsense there. I'm not saying the Black Bay is nonsense. If you love your Black Bay, don't take offense to this. I'm just saying how I feel, you know. It's free of hype, is what I'm saying. It's free of the hype, which I really like that about the Pelagos. Just spoke to me, it felt more me. Now, the insidious YouTube algorithm loves to recommend me videos with titles like, you know, clickbait titles. The Black Bay is the Submariner you've been waiting for, especially the Monochrome. It's not. Now, I don't mean to pull rank, but I've owned, experienced, reviewed, and when I mean experienced, I mean for years, months, weeks, really got to know these pieces. I think a dozen references of Submariner, and the Black Bay, none of the Black Bays feel like any of the Submariners. Yes, I see the similarities aesthetically, but it ends there. The Pelagos, on the other hand, was the first Tudor that really gave me a Submariner, that ineffable charm, that Submariner feel. The 39 case is the closest I've ever come to this or any of the other. Pelagos is what the Sea Dweller is to the Rolex Sub in terms of the role it plays. But unlike the Sea Dweller, it's more about the design language here. Squint your eyes and you can hardly tell a subby from a dweller. The sacrifice of the helium escape valve to make the 39 more everyday friendly is logical, but it might be a bridge too far for the purists. I mean, how many of us actually ever go saturation diving? Tudor has more variables to play with in the Black Bay and Pelagos dichotomy than Rolex has with their divers. Take the 39's pointed crown guards inspired by the reference 7928 of 1960. It's precisely devilish subtle details like this that not only elevates the ergonomic effectiveness, but still builds on its own legacy. The same could be said about the pop of cherry red printing on the dial. It's not just for looking figo or cool, but references the Rolex 1680, one of the most historically important turning points in the Submariner story that we also explored in an earlier video. So my camera decided to have a meltdown. I've taken shade in a dugout of a baseball field here. So what about the things I do like? I'm not sure if you can see me, maybe I'm still in the dark. Well, the bezel action is absolutely fantastic, especially compared to the bi-directional unratcheted vintage action of mine. I love the fact that the new Pelagos is fully loomed. And you know what? I would pick that over any Rolex Submariner any day of the week. I can't deny I was tempted to buy it when I left. The T-fit clasp, I'll put a clip here so you see what I mean about the T-fit clasp.
You break this last link, you pull it down, and then you can slide it up and down. Gives you about a link and a half worth of adjustment there.
Mm-hmm. The Pelagos really echoes the Tudor Submariner 9401, that was right. To me, that is the definitive best Tudor diver ever made. That blue, I think they're going to do a Pelagos in a more blue. That's the logical thing to do. It'll be a nice twosome with this. The balance, proportions, the symmetry, everything is just absolutely spot on there. There's an inherently British, Bondian understatedness, is that even a word? I don't know. There's an understated Britishness of all Tudor watches, and it's very Bondian, and I think that goes across the board, even the Black Bay, you know. In certain regards, more the Black Bay. We are joined by the NYPD, like old times. Nobody can ever say that any of these watches are bad taste, and that's something I do like across the board. My only critique is that slight sunburst. It's not a full sunburst. It slightly betrays its tooltastic vibe. Really, I'm nitpicking. That's the only fault I could find with it. So I'm going to interrupt the edit there, because of course when I got home, let's have a look at the spec. 21mm lug width. Why? I mean, I still think it's the best modern shooter diver made so far. Oh well. The only good thing is it does come with the rubber strap, unlike the Black Bay, which is interesting. So for not much more, I think it's actually better value. Speaking of straps, I do wish it had the drilled lug holes like my Submariner. It just would have made it that much more easier. Okay, back to the video. And my final big like, and this comes from experiencing the F77 that I recently acquired, the titanium. Okay, it's grade 2 from what I understand, but so light, so comfortable, something I really underestimated. Would I prefer it if it was grade 5? Yeah, of course. Personally, I do feel it is a shame they got rid of the cutout rehort, but the beguiling outward brushed ceramic bezel kind of makes up for it in my mind. While on the other hand, the feel of the modern 41 slimmed down Black Bay still feels like the initial ETA printed rose and smiling dial version that I actually purchased when Tudor first returned to the American market. Yeah, I think the crystal also adds a little bit of height as well.
The dome crystal, yeah.
While I absolutely loathe hype watches, I certainly fell victim to it and was impatient to wait for a smaller version. Good thing, really. It took them almost a decade for them to do so. Now, you would think, considering how much the 58 has sold, with every industry plant YouTuber fanning the flames, they would learn from that mistake of taking so long. So I would not be surprised if next year they came out with a smaller monochrome crack bay and a 39 blue Pelagos to keep their cash cows ever the fatter. Okay, so I'm going to leave it here. I'm at Bryant Park. Used to watch films here during the summertime, big screen. I think The French Connection was the last film I saw here. Something that is quite touching is that everyone in the Tudor store that worked there commented on my Valor strap that I designed for Risk County Watch Club, honouring my ancestor who was posthumously awarded the Victoria Cross, hence crimson stripe referencing the ribbon on the medal. And if I did get a Pelagos, of course it would work because of that dash of red. Anyway, don't forget to like this video. I'm very hot and sweaty. I'm going to break my fast and have dinner. Fasting in this heat is also fairly tough, but kind of get used to it. I'm not hungry when it's this hot, to be honest. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll catch you in the next one. Onwards and upwards. Thanks for watching. Ciao.